Woo, baby, it's Funkmaster V here, and it's time to ride the funk train. So what we're going to do today is we're going to go look at 10 excellent games if you have the Atari Ultimate Dual Fight Stick with trackball, and you've added a funky-ass spinner. Man, if you want to enjoy this thing, you've got to have that. Hola, child! It's time for Funkmaster V's Getting Hip with the Atari 7800, where Funkmaster V, musician, ghost hunter, hat flipper, pro wrestler, and comedian takes you on a tour of all things cool about the Atari 7800. Are you ready to get your groove on? Because it's about to get funky up in here. Now, these aren't the best 10 games in the world. They're not the best 10 emulated games in the world. For about a year and a half, I've been playing this thing, and these are the 10 that come to mind when I was trying to amass this list that was like really unique and took advantage of all of the components that we have here. So let's look at that real quick. So let's keep in mind, when you have this Atari Dual Ultimate Fight Stick with the trackball and the gimmick, you got to get a good emulator and the RetroPie and all that shit, and hopefully you've done all that too. But the spinner, that thing is amazing. You want to get this, man, if you want to play these games. And the trackball. And don't forget, we got dual stick. And this can be used for very interesting things. Now, you remember when I said these aren't the 10 best video games of all time or the 10 best emulated games of all time. These are the games, the 10 best that I have found subjectively that have taken advantage of this contraption that is sitting before us. Jurassic Park is a pretty derivative light gun game that you would have saw in the 90s, but it's a lot of fun, and what makes this game appear on the top 10 list is if you use the MAME emulator, you can use a trackball as your reticle for these light gun games. So these light gun games, since you don't have a light gun here connected to the Atari, you can play these things with the trackball, and it's a lot of fun. It's not a hard game. You can sit back, listen to some heavy metal music or gangster rap, and you can lay waste. Look at this character here. Blow his ass to hell. Just don't let PETA know, or any liberal time travelers, and we'll be in pretty good shape. But your second player, if you got a friend in the house that likes blowing up these dinosaur types, they can use the second joystick. A lot of fun. Nothing, this isn't the best game in the world, but it is a hoot, to use that word. Number 9 on this list may seem like a surprise or maybe controversial, but that's because you're ignorant, and I'm here to help you out. Number 9 is Frenzy, which is a homebrew video game from Bob DeCrescenzo, known as Pac-Man Plus in the Atari universe. And why this game is on the list is it's a wonderful multi-directional video game that you can play easily with the dual sticks. The second stick allows you to have a second player right next to you, and it's just got an amazing arcade feel to it. Now, the reason we've picked this version is not only that does it play well, but it also includes the game Berserk. So you may enjoy Berserk, you may enjoy Frenzy, but also the 2-player options with a lot of these 7800 games are amazing because they have competitive, team, and alternative play. So there's a lot of variety with this classic game, and if you're in the mood for this type of thing, you're not going to do any better than Frenzy for the Atari 7800, available inside Trebor's Atari 7800 Pro ROM Pack.
Good 5 standing by.
Oh, doesn't that just give you goosebumps? Well, Star Wars is awesome, and everybody knows the arcade version of Star Wars is one of the best video games of all time. The problem, though, if you've horsed around with emulation long enough, you realize there's a lot of games that are your favorites that just don't emulate well, on the current emulator you have. Super Smash TV is one, Tron is one, and unfortunately the arcade version of Star Wars is one. So I spent a lot of time looking around trying to figure out some sort of replacement. I was playing the ColecoVision for a while, and it's pretty good, but I really think the Amiga version is the best one out of the 22,000 video games I have on my Atari stick. And it's not 100% arcade perfect. It's a little harder, which some people might like, but also my version doesn't feature the music, but it does have all the voices and sound effects. It does sate the appetite. This is a great game. It doesn't have a lot to do with the movie. I don't remember, fireworks and pom-pom fairies coming at you instead of laser beams, but what are you gonna do? This game's one of the best vector games of all time, and it's just so freaking cool. At least on my Amiga version, in the contraption that I have, has the Han Solo, Ben Kenobi, and Luke Skywalker voiceovers, or at least their rich little impersonations. They sound pretty good. But this will scratch your itch. If you got one of these emulator machines and you're like, damn it, I can't play Star Wars because the yoke doesn't translate into a joystick type thing, the Amiga version is the closest one that I've found that is frickin' 5-star fantastic. I think you'll dig it. Also, for the Amiga version, don't forget to hit F2 to switch to joystick mode, which is pretty damn important. You don't want to play this thing with a keyboard, and may the force be with you.
Great shot, kid. That was 1 in a million.
One of the craziest games you've probably never played is this hybrid thing that is called Baby Pac Man. And as you can see, it's half pinball machine, and eventually you'll see it's a half maze game. It's addictive, it's fun, but the problem is you have to shell out about $6,000 or so because this thing has never been ported to a home system. Oops, I lied. Bob DeCrescenzo and the Atari 7800 to the rescue again. This game on the Atari 7800 is a delight. And as somebody who's not super crazy about Pac-Man type games, I love pinball games, and the combination of this thing plays great on the Atari stick, and it's just so damn fun, and it's challenging too. Fluctuating between running away from these crazy monsters, which is not easy, by the way, this is a hard game, and then sliding back to a not-so-easy pinball game so you can get these power pellets so you can go back on the offense and finally kill these ghost monsters. Because if you don't do well in the pinball world, you're not going to be able to kill these guys. And unless you're a master of Pac-Man, you got to have a few power pellets to slow these hombres down. A fantastic game on the Atari 7800, a fantastic game on the Ultimate Fight Stick. This game, once again, is found on Trebor's Atari 7800 Pro ROM Pack. Give it a whirl. It's the only version you can play outside of this arcade monstrosity. Coming in at number 6 on our list, I feel like Casey Kasem, is a game I've never even heard of before. It's an Atari game, cool. It's a vector game, even cooler. And it's the first ever dual joystick video game that's ever been made. Now, what is a dual joystick video game? I don't know if it's the correct term or not, but what I mean by it, it's a game where you can drive your main character with one stick and shoot in any direction, no matter where you're headed at the same time. Now, a lot of people think that's Robotron. That would be the first one ever. A lot of people think of Super Smash TV with this type of control system, but Black Widow was the first. And I gotta tell you, I love vector graphics. And I gotta tell you, I think between Robotron, Super Smash TV, and Black Widow, I dig Black Widow the most. What helps, I can't get Super Smash TV to work on my emulator to kind of give it a head-to-head competition, but I think I dig this guy. As long as I'm not having to fight spiders, and I am on the team of the spiders, I'm good. If we were a human being having to fight spiders, I don't know. I probably would never play this thing, but yeah, we're part of the bad guys and we dig it. Anyway, this game's great, and with a simple tutorial, you can make your dual joystick work properly, where you're actually driving one way and actually shooting any way you please. It's a unique experience. Atari was great at those types of things, coming up with new concepts and new ways to play video games. This is why they were the king for a little while. Enjoy this one. It's funky. All right, well, here at number 5 we have Outrun, and if there was a game I wish I was good at, it was this one. This is a racing game with multiple paths you can take, and there's at least, 5 different endings. Most of them are jokes about boobs or hot women, but, this thing was not made during the woke 2020s, so we'll forgive it. But it's a fun freaking game, multiple different landscapes, but why it's on this list, besides it being a great game, is it's wonderful to play with the Atari spinner. That's right, the spinner acts not only as a paddle in games like Arkanoid, but it also works great as a steering wheel. Road Blasters is another great game that you can play with the spinner, and there's quite a few if you get tearing down the list, but there's nothing quite like Outrun, even though the music isn't the greatest. I sing Corey Feldman type lyrics over these things sometimes. That's how bad the music is, and there may be a skit on our YouTube page about that later. But overall, Outrun is fun. It gives you choices. It's challenging. There's different topographies to look at and different tracks. And like I said, man, I have spent a lot of hours just getting to the 3rd stage, wishing I was halfway decent enough to go to stage 4 and 5 at least once in my lifetime. But you got to be good at this damn game. And I'm a taxi driver. I don't know why. It just doesn't translate. But overall, man, just keep in mind that Atari spinner works as a steering wheel in games like Outrun and Road Blasters. Man, it's just fantastic. Here is another arcade gem I bet a lot of people don't know about. It's called Assault. Now, Assault is a really funky, fun tank game, but the hook of it is that you need tank stick controls to actually play the game. Now, what we mean by that is that you use 2 joysticks to control the tank. You push up on both sticks, it moves forward, backward, it moves backwards. You do one up, one down, it spins, that type of thing. And if you do the old stripper money shot gimmick where you push both joysticks away from each other horizontally, the tank rises into the air and shoots a ranged missile. This game is awesome, but the problem is you don't have triggers on the dual stick. What I use to get around this is a good old-fashioned paperweight. That's right. I have a glass paperweight. You can use a billiard ball, whatever, and program one of the buttons on the second player's side and set that bad boy right there, and you're going to be constantly shooting like rapid fire. Now, arcade purists may tilt their nose up at that, but I don't care. I love this game as a kid, and I couldn't remember the name of it. With a name like Assault, it's pretty, pretty simple and derivative. It took me a while. Actually, Alex Pearson was the one that remembered this for some reason, and he's a child. I don't know how he knew about it. But anyway, I found it and got a workaround with the old paperweight gimmick. I don't know. Sometimes when you're doing this simulation stuff, sometimes you got to outsmart the technology. And with a paperweight and programming the joysticks to act properly as a tank control, this game has collected many hours of my life, and I'm not ashamed of it. Check it out on MAME. But seriously, if you're going to use a billiard ball or a paperweight or something like that, if you jostle the joystick too much, it's going to roll off and break your toe. That's on you, not me, pal. When you buy the Atari Ultimate Fight Stick, it comes with a lot of good games. They're all Atari games, and some of the best ones on there are trackball games. There's Centipede, it comes with Crystal Castles, Missile Command, but I couldn't believe how addicted I became to Crystal Castles. It's very similar to something like Pac Man, where you're trying to eat all the dots, Bentley Bear, the Tubby Bastard's trying to pick up all the crystals, but this isometric kind of fixed 3D thing is real addictive, and each board presents different challenges with the enemies that it decides to present to you, as opposed to the same ghost monsters running around like fools. So I prefer Crystal Castles to Pac-Man type games. You may want to punch me in the face for that. I don't care. But with the trackball, man, you can make this Tubby Bastard just fly around the screen. He jumps like Michael Jordan. It's just amazing how quick he is and how he can sometimes really excitingly get out of trouble. I can't put this game over enough. I can't put the trackball over enough. Centipede should probably be on this list. Rampart is another great trackball game. Marble Madness, Millipede. There's a lot of them, but man, you're not going to beat Crystal Castles. You're not going to do it. You're not. Alright, I lied. You are going to beat Crystal Castles, at least on this list, with 2 games. And the second one being another Atari arcade classic called Tempest. If you've never heard of Tempest, if you've never seen Tempest, if you've never played Tempest, if you've never licked Tempest, it's okay. I didn't either until I got this stick. Believe it or not, all these Atari games I've played in my 30-something year career of wasting my life with video games, I've never played Tempest. It was never in an arcade. I never had a home system that had a decent version. But man, I'm going to tell you, this game is cool looking. In fact, the graphics again, it plays like $1,000,000, but you gotta have that spinner. That spinner for Outrun, that spinner for Arkanoid, that spinner for Major Havoc, that spinner for Tempest. There's nothing like it. Spinning around this little 3D weird universe, shooting these weird little geometric shapes. Man, put some good music on in the background, listen to a podcast, listen to an audio book all night long, man. This game is addictive. They challenge you to play at higher levels. They challenge you to try to play harder levels. You get massive bonus points. And when you do that, you get better at the game. You'll delve deeper into the gameplay. And before you know it, all the nerd chicks are going to be trying to undo your Plymouth Fury belt buckle and your tight leather pants because these games are cool. And you just got to play it. It's a simple game. That's why I'm saying a lot of bullcrap right now. There's not a lot to say about it. This person's video that I stole, he apparently sucked at it. But you won't. Give it a spin. Give it a whirl. Give it a look-see. Tempest with the Atari spinner. It will spin its way into your heart. Number 1 on this list will probably disappoint a lot of people because it's obvious. It's a fight stick. And look at the thing. It's designed to be a Street Fighter fighting machine. Yes, you can play Virtual Fighter. Yes, you can play Mortal Kombat. Yes, you can play Tekken. Can you? I don't know. But there's other games on here. Art of Fighting. There's all these games you can play on this thing. And they're all fine. But this thing is made for Street Fighter. Every emulator has problems. And there's very few video games that play flawlessly on these types of systems. I'm an Atari 7800 expert. And I will tell you, Alien Brigade, Ninja Golf, Tower Toppler, Scrapyard Dog, a lot of those games don't play quite right on this emulator. And I imagine with other game systems and other arcade-type emulators, the same thing can be said about most of these things. But I will tell you, Street Fighter II games have been dialed in so much you can't tell the difference. So basically what you're doing with this Atari Ultimate Dual Fight Stick with the trackball and added spinner is you are putting a Street Fighter machine in your house for $199 or less, depending on whether Micro Center has a sale or not, as opposed to buying one of those kind of cheap Walmart type arcade machine setups where the joysticks and the buttons aren't that great, or you don't have to spend thousands of dollars getting a real dialed in Street Fighter arcade machine in your house. If you like Street Fighter, even if you like Mortal Kombat, you can insert any one of your fighting games into this that will play on these emulators and these Raspberry Pis. Man, it's cherry, it's dialed in, and I gotta tell you, this Zangief guy has got some cheat codes going on because he's doing some ridiculous stuff here. So anyway, that's the list. But here's the reason I made the list. These are the 10 video games that I found that I was like, I want other people to know, hey, this is a good thing to try on this arcade stick. What have you found? This thing has Amiga games, it has Spectrum games, it has Video Pack games, it has TurboGrafx games, Mega Drive games, all the computers, just all the home systems up to a point. They don't have anything like PS4 or anything, but eventually they might. have stuff that you can play on this. This is what I'm getting at. I'd like to know what you found. I'd like to know what secrets you have ran across. Where is your area of expertise? What have you discovered? What do you know that's special information, inside information, area of expertises that I don't know anything about? Hey, Vinny, try this game. Hey, Vinny, try that game. I'd love for you to message me on here. Leave a comment. Say, hey, you stupid for picking Outrun. You should have picked blank. That's 10 times better. Yeah, this guy's definitely cheating. But anyway, I want to know. Tell me what you got. I want to know. And in another year, I may come up with 10 more games to let you guys in on, and I hope you guys let me know what secrets you discovered too. Be sure to check out Atari7800forever.com. We review every Atari 7800 game there is, plus we write funny articles, we write cheat guides. Hey, that's my car. We write news, and we got a new writer too, Silverback. The guy Silverback's going through some of the old games for the system, and he's powering through those, reviewing all of those, and eventually we will have full-length reviews for everything available for the Atari 7800, which that's getting harder and harder to do. I hate saying this crap, people, but if you can like and subscribe to the channel, we have new content, comedy videos, video game videos. We have information in trailers and movie clips from our movies that we're making. We have podcasts, paranormal television, wrestling, music, the whole bit. Check it out. Go to our YouTube page, Big and Funky Productions. Do me a favor and subscribe. Hope you like this video. We will make more in the future. God bless you all. And stay funky, brothers and sisters.